Really, when I went off to university, I had quite a rough time. It was something I'd always wanted to do from when I was very young, was go to university, because nobody else in the family had ever done it. And shortly after I went there for the first year, my mum and dad separated, which I took really hard. And one of the big stories of that part of my life was just not forgiving myself for the way I dealt with that situation. And I think when I then made the decision to leave university without finishing my degree, that was something I struggled with for quite a long time. When I was at sort of a really rough point, and I didn't have a job at the time either, I was sort of almost hiding at my friend's house, for want of a better word, just for some company. And Megan, I met Megan when she came round one day during a lunch break or after a shift, and I had a chat to her, and I really enjoyed her company. We ended up as boyfriend and girlfriend, but at the time weren't going to church, and we talked about the way we were together and what we believed, and realised that it was something that we wanted to explore together, and we made a decision to go to church from there as a couple. My life turned around when I met Megan. It was overnight, and she was incredible. Don't tell her, will you? But yeah, she really led me to God and to Jesus, and she has just changed the whole course of my life by introducing me to Him. The story for me has just been a real understanding or revelation of how God looks at me, and that's something that you struggle sometimes. You can't see it yourself. You can't from the outside until you make that decision to become a Christian, and you start to try and live authentically to how the Bible tells us to live as well. Until you really make that decision to try and follow Him, you'll never really understand how God sees you, and it's really, really important that you do. Because I think people are incredible, and I think everybody's incredible, but you don't see it, and I think you miss out on so much in life until you realise it. It's hard to understand, isn't it? And that's what I say about taking that leap of faith and then trying to work out the details later. Why would somebody love me as much as God does? Why would that be the case? Because of all the things I've done, and the behaviours that aren't good, and the way you treat people sometimes, and the moments of weakness. But then you hold that little girl in your arms for the first time, and I don't know, I just broke down in tears at the time. But it's that realisation of, oh yeah, nothing could ever separate me from Isla or from Evelyn now. Nothing could ever change the way I feel about them. And it's just that parallel, isn't it? I think in terms of Jesus being a light, He just changes my perspective on the world and the people in it. It makes me feel for the world and worry for the world in ways that I wouldn't have considered worrying for the world before, because I was focused on myself. And He's really been a source of illumination for who I am, and what He sees me as, and who He sees me as, and that He knows who I am as well. I don't have to pretend, or I don't have to put on a show. I just go around doing life as me, and I know He loves me for it. It's incredible.